You know, it's funny, when you sent over this princess workbook, at first glance, I kind of thought, well, this will be light,
Yeah.
like fun and playful.
Uh,
But then when we really started looking through it and like preparing for this deep dive, I was like, wow, there is so much packed into this
yeah, there really is.
little workbook. I mean,
It's for kids 3 and up, right?
yeah.
Explore, fun, learn.
And even on the cover, it says like these amazing hands. And, you don't really think about that, but it really is about like
Right.
getting those hands working.
Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah.
that fine motor development is
Yeah.
so important at that age.
Totally. And it's cool too that this is like a printable workbook.
Yeah.
It's actually designed to proceeds go towards helping children who might not have the resources for online learning. So that's really neat. And they encourage people to share it, but just personal use only.
Right, of course, give them credit.
Give them credit, yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing that I really wanted to get into is like we're not just going to go through this page by page. We're going to really unpack
Okay.
what each one of these activities is doing for early childhood development.
That's what I'm excited for.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay.
So, I mean, right off the bat, it starts with this very personal page about me.
Oh, yeah.
And it asks the kid, nickname, age, address.
Basic stuff, you think, right?
It seems really simple, but it's actually...
But for a kid that age,
Yeah.
it's huge,
Yeah.
right? Like, thinking about who they are,
Yeah.
putting a name to it, an age to it, like, I am this many years old, this is my name. I live here. Like, that's
It's them. Like, it's a big deal.
understanding their place in the world.
Absolutely. Their universe at that point.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then it goes on to, we talked about the amazing hands. So it goes right into this, like, trace the lines.
Yeah.
And, zigzags and waves and all this stuff. And it seems...
You think like, oh my gosh, this is
It's so simple.
so basic.
But it's building.
It's building towards writing.
That's it.
Yeah. Fine motor control. Like they need to be able to hold that pencil,
Totally.
make those lines, eventually form letters. And so this is like the building block.
It's like the physical practice.
Absolutely. It's the foundation.
Yeah. Love that. And then, moving on,
Yep.
it goes into activity 2, which is finding. Here,
Okay.
the kid has to, like, find and circle certain letters.
Right.
So, like, P for princess, C for carriage, T for tiara, S for shoes, U for unicorn.
It's all within that theme.
Yeah, it's all themed.
Keeping it engaging.
But it's really starting to introduce
Yes.
letter recognition.
It is. And it's in a context they understand, right? So it's not just like a random A or B. It's,
It means something.
carriage starts with C, princess P. Like they can make those connections.
I see.
Yeah.
And then it goes on to activity 3, which is even more like letter-focused.
Okay.
Alphabet tracing. And for each letter of the alphabet, they have a word, and they're all princess themed.
That's cute.
So like A for Ariel, B for Bambi, C
Yeah.
for carriage,
All the way to Z for zipper. But what it's doing is it's combining that like tracing and that fine motor skill
Yep.
with also vocabulary building. So they're learning these words as well.
They're seeing the word. They're tracing the letter. They're starting to make those connections between sounds and letters.
Right. And then it starts to get into numbers,
Okay, math.
which is super interesting.
Yeah.
So there's this activity 4, count the princesses, and then activity 5 is just numbers in general, where you have to count the number of like princess-themed items.
So they're looking at the picture. They're counting up how many of each thing.
Right, and then they write the numbers.
And they're getting that visual representation, right?
Exactly. So it's really helping them with that one-to-one correspondence.
Yes, making sure they're counting each item once and only once.
Yeah, and getting that visual with the symbol of the number.
That's a big concept for them at that age.
It is. And then activity 6, it's this cute little princess carriage.
Well,
And you have to write the numbers 1 through 10 in order...
so they're getting that number sequence.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not just random numbers. It's
Exactly.
Get little
Getting on that. And then it goes on to some more like visual activities.
Okay.
So activity 7 is, where is my princess?
right.
And it's matching.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it's like halves of princess characters.
Okay.
And so it's helping them with visual completion.
Gotcha. So they're seeing part of the princess, and they have to figure out what the other half looks like.
That's it. And then activity 8 is spot the difference.
Classic.
Yeah, they have all these rows of princesses, and there's always one that's a little bit different.
That they're really having to pay attention to the detail.
Totally. Like which one has the different color dress or whatever it is.
Yeah, which one's holding the shoe versus the wand.
And that's like such an important skill for,
Right.
so many things.
Absolutely. And it's fun for them at that age.
Yeah, they love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, spot the difference is always a hit.
And then they have this activity 9, guide the princesses home. It's a maze.
I love it.
You know, so it's like an intro to problem solving and spatial reasoning.
So they're not just, randomly scribbling. They're having to think,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
how do I get from point A to point B?
And anticipate
Yeah, if I go this way,
what the path is going to be.
am I going to hit a dead end? I got to go around. Like, that's huge for them.
So fun. And then they get into shapes.
Okay.
Activity 10.
Yeah.
So they've got hexagon, triangle, diamond star, pentagon, heart, trapezoid, rectangle, all these shapes.
Wow, that's a pretty comprehensive.
It is.
Yeah.
And they're tracing them.
Yeah.
So again, it's like that fine motor, but it's also like this early geometry.
Exactly. They're getting introduced to the names of these shapes, the visual representation of them.
Totally. And then they go back to numbers a little bit with activity 11.
Okay.
It's called trace and write.
Mm-hmm.
And this time it's the numbers 1 through 10, but they're written out as words.
Oh, interesting. So they're getting that connection between the symbol and the word.
That's it.
1, 2, 3. Like, that's important for their literacy,
Yeah,
too.
totally. And then they have these next two activities that are really interesting.
Okay.
Activity 12 is shadow matching.
Oh, we love that one.
They have to like match the princess item with its shadow.
So they're thinking about shapes and how light plays on things.
It's really cool. And then activity 13 is observing sizes.
Right.
And they have to identify items that are the same size as a given example.
So again, they're thinking about size differences.
Totally. And then they even get a little introduction to arithmetic with activity 14
Oh, wow.
addition.
At this age.
Yeah, it's really cute.
How do they do it?
Well, it's super visual.
Oh, okay.
So they'll have like, 2 tiaras plus 1 tiara equals 3 tiaras.
So they're actually seeing the objects being added together.
Exactly.
That's a great way to introduce it.
It is. And then there's this whole section on like color.
Fun.
It's so cute.
What do they do?
Well, there's coloring shapes, coloring number, and coloring alphabet.
So again, they're working on those fine motor skills, staying in the lines.
Yeah,
But they're also recognizing colors.
exactly.
Oh.
And then there's this one that's really cool.
What was it?
It's called coloring clothes.
Cute.
Yeah, and it uses these like number codes to tell you which color to use.
Oh, wow.
So like 1 will be red, 2 will be green, or 1 will be pink, 2 will be blue.
So it's like an early version of
Yeah,
follow the instructions, color by number.
that's it.
That's so cool.
It's like early coding almost.
Yeah.
Like, here's the code, here's what you do.
That's amazing.
And then activity 19 goes back to mazes a little bit.
Okay.
It's called Princess Maze,
Mm.
but now they're a little more intricate.
So it's building on that skill.
Yeah, like the princess has to find her way to the carriage or the castle or the magic mirror or the crown
Oh, wow.
or even a frog.
So there's different goals this time.
Yeah, it's a little more
And
advanced.
keeping it interesting, keeping it challenging.
That's it. And then there's this section that I think is really important for kids this age.
What's that?
It's activity 20 feelings.
Oh,
And it actually asks them to draw expressions for different feelings.
wow. So they're getting introduced to emotional literacy.
Totally.
That's a big one.
Yeah, so they have happy, surprised, tired, angry, scared, and sad.
And they're actually having to think about, what does that look like on a face?
Exactly.
How do you show that emotion?
And that's so important for kids this age to start recognizing
Yeah.
different emotions in themselves and other people.
Right. And to be able to express them.
Yeah, love that. And then we have activity 21, which is color by number.
Oh, I was waiting for this one.
Classic, right?
Yeah. We all love color by number.
And they're all princess themed. So like there's beautiful princess, a mermaid princess, a castle, a crown.
I love it.
And each one has its own little key. So like for the beautiful princess, 1 is yellow, 2 is blue, 3 is violet.
So they're really putting it all together. They're recognizing the number.
Yeah.
They're finding the corresponding color, and then they're coloring it in.
It's so good.
It's such a good activity.
And then activity 22 writing brings us back to literacy.
Okay.
So this time it's specific princess-themed words for tracing.
All right.
So they'll have princess castle shoes, bag, wand, mirror, crown, dress carriage.
So again, they're getting that repetition with those letters and those words.
Exactly.
And seeing them over and over again.
And then activity 23 is true or false.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's these simple statements about princess-related items, and they have to decide if it's true or false based on a picture.
So it's a little comprehension check.
Yeah, so like it might show a tiara and say, this is a hat.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, so they have to think about it.
Yeah.
And then activity 24 is a little intro to time.
Okay, how do they do that?
It's called What Time Is It? And they have to draw the hands on a clock face.
Oh, wow.
So it's like...
That's a big one for little kids.
It is.
Thinking about time.
Yeah, and how to tell time.
That's cool.
And then activity 25 goes back to size.
Okay.
And this time it's big or small,
Uh-huh.
and they just have to circle the bigger picture.
So again, they're comparing
They're comparing.
Thinking about relative sizes.
Totally. And then the very end of the workbook,
Yeah.
it has this my activity checklist.
So they can check off as they go.
Yeah. So I think it's really for the kids so they can be like, oh, I did this, I did this, I did this.
I love that. And it gives them a sense of accomplishment.
Totally. And then, of course, to celebrate their achievement,
Yeah.
there's a congratulations for workbook completion page.
Aw.
And then a certificate of achievement.
So they can be proud of themselves.
Totally.
That's awesome.
So, I think what we've seen here is that this princess workbook, which, at first glance,
Seems so simple.
seems so simple.
But it's not.
It's so much more.
It's really well thought out.
And it's really hitting on so many different areas of early childhood development.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We talked about fine motor skills.
Yeah.
Literacy, numeracy, visual and spatial reasoning.
Problem solving.
Emotional literacy. It's all in there.
It's all in there.
And it's all within this fun princess theme that keeps kids engaged.
Right.
It's brilliant.
And it really makes you think, when you walk around the world and you see all this stuff targeted at kids, how much thought actually goes into it?
Right. Is it just fluff or is it actually helping their development?
And in this case, it's really clear that someone sat down, thought about it.
And was intentional.
And was like, how can we make this fun, but also
For education.
it's play-based learning at its finest.
It really is.
And it's inspiring to see.
Yeah.
Makes you want to take a closer look at the things that we just kind of pass by every day.
Yeah. And think about what's behind them.
Exactly, because you never know what you might find.
That's it. So keep your eyes peeled out there, folks.
Yeah, stay curious.
You never know.